Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron.
We're Neverboard Gaming, and today we're taking a look at a prototype for Dark Mace, which is seeking funding on Kickstarter. So Dark Mace is an area control combat game set in a medieval setting where each player controls an army and you're all kind of clashing in the middle of this battlefield. And so it's kind of similar to Risk in that way because you're trying to control the most areas, you're killing each other off, but it's definitely kind of simplified down and moves a lot quicker. So you can almost think of it as like a quick moving Risk Light.
And the way the map is set up, it's kind of a free-for-all to the center. It's almost like, King of the Hill or something where you're equal distance from each other, and there's not like, I'm going to hold up over here in
Australia.
Yeah, Australia, and just nobody's going to touch me, and I'm going to build up my troops here. You're actually like limited on the space where you can put your troops in this game. They, only one per hex, so you can't just be like, okay, I'm going to spawn dudes here, spawn more dudes here, spawn more dudes here, and then come out. You have to move out, and then you can spawn more guys, and then you can move out, and then spawn more guys. So there's definitely, or you could go out and build a new place to spawn, which is a very strategic way to win this game.
Yeah. You're very piece limited in this too, both the number of buildings and the number of units, and you can only buy back units that have been killed once per game. So there's an awful lot.
You only get money once per game.
Right. Okay. Sorry. You can only get the money once per game to buy back those units. So everything matters. Every one space you move and every unit you buy and unit you use matters quite a bit.
Yeah, that getting the money back, it kind of reminds me of Klondike Rush, how you cash in all of your investments to get money once, and once you do it, you're done. In this game, you get money based on whatever round you're in. So if you're in round 8, you get 8 coins, and then that's it. So it's definitely like you're trying not to cash in too early because you're not going to get as much money, but if you wait too long, you're going to lose so much territory on the board if you lost a bunch of people. So it's finding that sweet spot of when to wait and when to cash in. But once you have those troops back in your supply again, there is no cost to add troops to the board. It's just open spaces where you have a starting area or a barrack. So you can just put tons of guys in the board all at once, whatever round you have your barracks in. So if you, round 1, move out a little bit, drop a barrack. Round 2, you can then drop just tons of guys in the board. It's going to take them a little while to get to the middle where the fighting actually happens, but that option's open for you.
But with that, it does sound like it's incentivizing you to bum rush out there. But really, this game is more about thinking long term. And I think the name of this game is kind of like pace yourself. Like, don't rush out there too much because you kind of, while you're piece limited overall, you may think, oh, well, I can just put as many dudes as I can fit out there. So if I can move out there, put a barracks in a spot that has a lot of spaces and put all of my dudes, all of your piece limited dudes, then I'll have an advantage over this guy. Well, you can both do that, but the point is being piece limited and only being able to get that gold to buy them back once. You don't want to just, blow your load too early.
So in addition to having all the guys you're adding to the board, you do have a series of one-time use cards that can change the game. You can either build multiple buildings, or you can buff your attacks up, or you can let one guy attack everything adjacent to it, and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. That again, once you use them, when you get your money, you can then buy those abilities back.
So when you're charging out to battle, you actually have to think about who you're going to match up against with what piece. Like, if I charge out with my knight, or is that what they're called? Chivalry. Cavalry.
Chivalry.
Charging out with chivalry! Let me hold that door for you!
If I take my cavalry and I go up against another cavalry unit, it ends up being that I have to flip over an attack card of 7 or higher unless I modify it, or that's about it. But if I go out and charge and try and attack an archer unit, he has no defense against melee, so I'll do a lot more damage. But if I fail and I do miss, he actually will have a big advantage when attacking back against me because archers, the closer they are, the more damage they do.
So in that, there's a much more unique area to combat because everybody does have these stats as you'd expect, but you have to draw a card and it's from 1 to 13 twice in there in that deck, and that needs to be greater than the total attack and defense strength that you've got going on in that battle. So it's not just this guy is better at attacking, it's almost like these two different units match up better or worse against one another. So it's not just this guy is my juggernaut who's going to come in and bash everything down. It's an awful lot of this guy versus this guy's better, but this guy's an advantage over that guy, but these guys are more evenly matched.
That's kind of what I was trying to hint at, but you said it better.
This game does pretty much result in a bloodbath. The fact that we're all funneling into the same area, the fact that you win if you hold the most area at the end of 13 rounds or if you control 13 territories, means that there's just a constant back and forth. There's a lot of like swapping, like, well, I'm going to come here and kill this guy. And Aaron's like, well, I'm going to slip in here where you just vacated and take this area from you. And Tom's like, aha, I'm going to come and kill you both. So it is just a ton of just back and forth where I feel like Risk, you can have a lot of like, all right, this is my line, and I'm going to step forward and take this, step forward and this, and we're going to fight, step forward and take that. And it's like slowly taking over board or slowly losing borders, where this is just kind of a random melee nonsense.
And the fact that you can be in a territory together, like you can sneak around the back and attack somebody or just sneak through. And Risk, you battle once you meet up in the same territories.
Well, actually, and I know this is a bit of an obscure reference, but if you've ever played the Walking Dead version of Risk, where you play in Atlanta, where it's just a giant circle, it feels a lot more like that. There's a lot less choke points. I mean, with the rivers and stuff, there are a few choke points that you can create, but it feels like a lot more open field, where, or like, what is it, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, where you're just kind of, you can get attacked from any angle. So, like, that was the biggest complaint that we always have with just regular Risk, and other dudes on a map type board games fix that by making it feel like you're not safe in a lot of areas.
The card drawing is interesting compared to just rolling a die, because you can actually, if you whiff a couple of combats at the beginning, or like get low numbers, you have a better chance of attacking high later, which is kind of nice to be like, okay, well now I know I'm going to do better. But if you like get really good attacks, well, for one, you have less opponents now because you've killed them. But then you know later game you're going to be attacked. You have a higher chance of missing.
Which is why this game is, again, it's a lot of that pace yourself. Because if you think I'm just going to bum rush through, oh, I get all my 12s and 13s first, oh, awesome. I mean, granted, first person to 13 flags on the board wins, but with that whole you can get attacked from any area type of thing, it's not so easy as just getting a couple really good draws and planting, your barracks out there and bum rushing your dudes out there. Because if you do that, I mean, you might have a little bit of success initially, but you're in a long game, you're not going to last.
Especially, we played this mostly as a 3-player game, and so it definitely has that, like, you just let these two guys go duke you out in the middle, and I'm just going to hang back and build my guys up and get some stuff, and once they've, like, successfully decimated each other's forces, then I'm just going to step in and overwhelm them. There are some cool options, though, if you want to play it as a 4-player game. You can actually flip the map over, and there's another side to this, so that way it's still symmetric, and you're not like, oh, well, in a 3-player game it's this way, and you have a choke point over here if you're playing this numbers. You flip it over so it's still symmetric, and you can actually do a 1v1v1v1 or a 2v2 where your two armies are joining together to fight two other armies. So it really does make a couple different ways to mix it up depending on how many people you're playing with, who you're playing with, what you like to play, who you like to play with, what kind of people you have over.
Who's playing, how they're playing, what we're playing,
what
why
time it
we're
is.
playing, when we're playing. The humidity outside is a big factor. So if you are interested in those dudes on a map kind of board games, like Risk or Axis and Allies or Blood Rage or Kemet or Cyclades or any of those, but you want a little bit of a lighter in complexity of rules, but still deep strategy on how you have to do it. Because we are all starting on this kind of even playing field, but it's whoever plays the hand that they're dealt better is the one who's going to have, sort of the advantage on everybody else. Then you should definitely back Dark Mace.
Again, this is just a prototype version. Obviously, in Kickstarter, they're going to be upgrading a lot of things in this game. Primarily the fact that all of these laminated little dudes are just like standees. They're not even cardboard. They're actually just laminated paper stuck in a standee. Are going to turn into miniatures. So if you're looking for a map with just tons of minis on it, another great thing to look for.
Like we've already said, if you're looking for your next like dudes on a map battling game that's different, this is something to consider. Like, it's not you're not dice rolling anymore. This is cards and just pure movement strategy and when you attack.
If you're watching this video on YouTube, we're going to have a link to the Kickstarter campaign in the description box down below, as well as a card popping up here. You can click on either one of those and check it out.
Or if you're watching this on Kickstarter, obviously you know what to do. Just go up there and back it. But either way,
Subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
maybe we probably should still do it, but my apathy level is so high towards that.
I only brought this one shirt.
Yes,
This
that's
two
another
shirts,
reason why.
but
That's
You
another
have,
reason.
but you live here.
Yeah, but if he's not going to change, I'm not changing.
if you both change, though,
It
Like,
looks like it was filmed
this
on a
is
different
only
day.
one of
Wes is
4
the-
outfits I wear on camera.
That's true. You do need more. We all need. Well, no, you have.
I have
half.
like 50 shirts.
I
so I'm like,
have-
I can
I've
change
been-
my shirt. You
I've
guys
been
like,
slowly
no.
working on getting more. That lizard shirt I wore last time, that was
Yeah,
new.
You did.
I'm working on
You
it.
did. So
I
you
just-
need, basically the goal is get more lizard shirts. You need more lizard shirts.
I kind of want to. I like that shirt. Is that new?
Yeah.
Is that why you were so adamant about changing your shirt?
I have 4 shirts in my car.
I actually like that a lot. No,
It is
Aaron.
nice, it is
I mean,
nice.
Aaron, come over. We're gonna do these 2 videos. He goes, okay, and he
3
wheels in like a cart with like 10 shirts on it. It looks like Barney Stinson's closet.